Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's a two for day. And I was a little bit delayed today because there's so much breaking news. We have a massive dump and we have a massive surprise or the sensational twist out there. Jeff Hammer, thank you so much for coming. Thank you as well to the mods in the chat. We'll talk about a rogue dump, which caused a glitch in a system that rattled a lot of people. We'll talk about the ETF mayhem, exactly what's going on. Another massive purchase. And how hard this thing is. So let's just jump in. And thank you as well to everybody on Patreon who make a lot of things possible. Team Patreon is worth it. Thanks, James, and everyone behind the scenes at IA. Thank you, Tim M, for being here. Now, for those of you who are into the planet and stuff, it's vernal equinox. This only happens twice a year, and it signals the beginning of spring. Spring? Maybe a spring in Bitcoin price. I think that is going to happen today as well. So happy vernal equinox and welcome to spring. And for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, welcome to winter, I guess, or whatever the opposite is. And don't forget, there's a Bitcoin only playlist. For those of you who only want Bitcoin content on this channel, we cover all bases, but this is just Bitcoin only. And we only have 30 days to go. 30 days. The final countdown. It's happening fast. Now, we'll start off with some of the crazy news. A rogue seller somehow dropped 400 Bitcoin on BitMEX, and that took the Bitcoin price down to 8,900. This is what can happen in markets that have very thin liquidity. All right? It's like, imagine you go to buy something and there's $200,000 of volume done a week and you try to buy $7,000, you just can't do it. You just simply can't. Same thing with selling. If there's nobody there to catch it, the price will just plummet. And that happened on BitMEX. But of course, wouldn't it be nice to have limit orders to grab that? Of course, I don't think anybody did. But anyway, that's why you have these things for these types of events. Limit orders are key. In other crazy news, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about Grayscale. They had the largest ETF outflow since the great financial crisis, everybody. Thank you as well, aka living. That is a bonkers number, a huge number, nearly $12.5 billion out just in the last couple of weeks. Insane, but it's okay because it's all part of the Sonnenschein plan. And this is a piece from Bloomberg, and none of it came as a surprise, right? No, we've seen. GBTC continued to trade liquidly and with tight spreads across a very diversified shareholder base. So we kind of think we're between the first and the second inning of this. And, okay, I don't know about first and second innings or even what sport that is. I don't know if it's baseball or cricket or something. But I do know I think there are 9 innings. So if you lost half your fund between the first and the second inning, you're toast. So I just thought that was very comical from Michael Sonnenschein. And again, drained of $12 billion. $12 billion. Now they're saying, you know what? We might reduce our fees. And as I always say, greed kills. Okay? Don't be greedy. In this, and another view of what 12 billion means, that's 240,000 Bitcoin. Gone. We'll get to all the ETF charts in a minute. But I think that was a rude awakening. I don't think they did their calculus correctly. They thought they could milk the 1.5% fee forever because people wouldn't move, people wouldn't bother. That's not what happened at all. Now, a visual from one of our charts of the Grayscale Dumpage. Stunning. They had the biggest dump ever by over $2 million of $642 million and a half. $642.5 million gone. Biggest dump ever. And that's after, I think it was day 6, the FTX dump for 3 days. So it shows you things are still happening. This is tied to Genesis. I thought Genesis was flushed from the system, but it's not. It's still being flushed. But the good news is, and this is crazy, they make their biggest dump ever, and guess who grabs it all? BlackRock. This is from Zero Hedge. And here is the final daily breakdown. In a day when GBTC saw record liquidations to meet bankruptcy obligations of Genesis and others, and when Bitcoin tumbled, BlackRock saw a surge of inflows. ETF demand is relentless and price indiscriminate. very important. The buyers of this thing, they don't know if Bitcoin's at 69K or 62K or 73K or 50K. They just want to get their hands on the IBIT shares, which cost like $42. They don't even know the underlying price or the movement of this asset. They're just getting their hands on it. So that piece there, indiscriminate buyers, or what I say, the permanent bid that's coming into this thing, is mind-blowing. And I got some crazy news for you all today as well. Thank you for coming. We've got to get this message out. So I normally don't ask for likes or anything like that, but hit the like and that'll put your network in touch with this video too. Now, IBIT ETF perspective. Just IBIT alone. Okay, these are the blue bars of what IBIT's buying and what they bought yesterday, day 46. And that compares to daily issuance of 900 Bitcoin. We can only track what about 25% of the hash rate does. And so if you imagine 900 Bitcoin, take a quarter of that, call it 250. Only 80% of that's being sold. Call it 200 Bitcoin. All the Bitcoin is coming from the speculators and GBTC dumping. Once that turd is flushed, I'll say that for the last time. People think it's funny. Some people might find it offensive. But it's a tar, it's a stain on the Bitcoin system. That's why I don't like it. Once it's gone, wow. We are going to see the craziest run ever. And I've never been more bullish. Now, let's talk about the ETFs. They are flying today. I tweeted this probably an hour or so ago. Yeah, exactly an hour ago. And it's already north of 60 million. I estimated we'll do an 80 million day on BlackRock, which means at least a $600 million buy. It's only a matter of time before Bitcoin gets back to its all-time highs, okay? These undulations are normal. Again, caused by the stain of this. But that will soon be gone. And remember, the bid is relentless and they don't care what price it's at. Thank you, Bottom Feeder, for coming. Now, this is the huge news I just want to share with you all. This is bigger than anything. All right? If it happens. Thank you, Joseph, for coming. If it happens, they're thinking about it. So this is the world's largest pension fund. They're exploring Bitcoin as an investment. All right? The Japanese government has a problem. Okay? Their pension fund has a gap. It has a hole. They need to seek alpha. They have $1.6 trillion in this. It's the largest pension fund on the planet. It's in Japan. And they are thinking of allocating to Bitcoin. Okay? Now, first of all, if they do, that will be bonkers. But what's also important, you know what's going to happen if they do that? Then the second biggest pension fund, and I could be wrong on these numbers, I think it's in my head, the Norway government pension fund is the second biggest. They're going to follow the Japanese. Then the South Korean third biggest pension fund, the National Pension Service, NPS, out of South Korea, they're going to follow suit. Then the Federal Retirement Thrift Investment Board in the United States will follow suit. Then CalPERS in California will follow suit. Then the Canadian Pension Plan Investment Board will follow suit. There is simply nowhere near enough Bitcoin to satisfy one of these pension funds. Never mind all of them. And once they begin, the avalanche will come. It's going to be crazy. So don't be shaken out of your position. Now, another crazy news, not as big as the Japanese pension fund news, which again, they haven't bit the bullet yet, but they're thinking about it and they're probably going to go with it. This is the equivalent of Uber Eats out of Singapore called Grab. They are now accepting Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin's becoming a standard. And of course, Singapore is a very crypto-friendly place. So well done to Team Singapore. Now, pullback perspective, just for people who are very nervous, is from Charles Edwards. A normal Bitcoin bull run pullback is 30%. Back in December, we were already on the longest winning streak in Bitcoin's history. And a 20% pullback takes us to 59K. A 30% pullback would be 51K. And these are all levels we should be comfortable expecting and buying those dips. For those that didn't, shout out to Sanjay, who bought the dip this morning. Texting back and forth. Where's the bottom? I spoke to the bottom. I'll get to that in a second. Now, this is from Hey Apollo, from Thomas. Bitcoin was a $1 billion network a decade ago, and now it's a $1 trillion network. And if you ask me, it's going to 100 trillion. Again, 100 trillion is what has been expected for Bitcoin to happen for the longest time, and that will be exciting. Of course, $100 trillion market cap. Let me know in the comment below if you know what that is in terms of Bitcoin price. Fun times ahead. Stay healthy, my friends. Now, HODL 15 came out and said this. Last touch of 63K before the halving. And that's it. That's the tweet. And it's the same image I had, coincidentally, which is great. 63,000. Last touch. About 6 hours ago, I wrote this in a trade alert. I said, I was looking at the charts. I see the bottom of Bitcoin being 62,400 this morning. The screenshot was taken 2 hours ago, so it says 4 hours ago. It was actually about 6 hours ago. And I bought a big bag of CleanSpark at $15 because I felt the Bitcoin bottom was in. And I felt maybe there's more return on CleanSpark than Bitcoin itself buying spot. So we'll see if 62.4 is the bottom. Or, as HODL 15 says, 63. And the Bitcoin price right now is 64.8. So it's already come up nearly $3,000 in the bottom. Again, it's scarce, everybody. It'll have these undulations, but it will recover because it's got that permanent bid, and we are so early. I'm working on another thing, by the way, of all the different funds that are allocating. I'm aggregating a list. I'll share that soon, maybe tomorrow. So, yeah, 62.4, I think that was the floor. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. Also, Bitcoin. This is the weird thing about the psychology of humans. And this could not be more poignant and true in the world. $100 Bitcoin, $10 Bitcoin, nobody's interested. $3,500 Bitcoin, nobody's interested. I remember buying Bitcoin at $3,500 during the C19 March 20 dip. It was just under 4K, but call it 3,900. And 15,000 Bitcoin, nobody's interested. You know, I'm on the phone, the bear market to my friends. You need to get it. You need to buy it now. But then all the bears are saying, no, we're going to 3,000 again. Yeah, that didn't happen. But now it's 60,000 plus. And it's all over the TV. And now everybody wants to buy all the Bitcoin. And that is just human nature. Do not follow the flock or whatever, the group of sheep. I think it's a flock. Flock of birds, flock of sheep. I hope I got that right. I'm so tired. Anyway, let's look at the Bitcoin black hole. Let's look at the ETFs. Day 46 raw numbers. The darkest red in the history of red days for Grayscale happened yesterday. Again, $642.5 million out. 451.5 into BlackRock. And today, based on my volume model so far, it'll be 550 million plus into BlackRock today. And I doubt the Grayscale dumpage can be that high. That's a lot of dumpage. Now, macro updated view of all these things. You can see the red is BlackRock, blue is Fidelity. Fidelity had a very quiet day. And I always say, literally, I almost 99% certain at this point, BlackRock and Fidelity have a deal. It's like, you buy on Mondays, you buy on Tuesdays, I'll buy on Wednesdays, whatever. Because if they're rushing in the door at the same time, it'll spike the price too much. Again, tinfoil hat theory. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But literally, they always run counter to each other. And I'm working on a model that will prove that as well. And that big green thing is Grayscale Dumpage record dump day. Okay? That's why the Bitcoin's down. And we had the second worst money flow day ever from 46. Second worst day ever. Negative 200 million out of the system. But there's a piece of silver lining for this too. This is the total money flow. It's still up and to the right, despite that dipped yesterday. And 24 billion is into the 9 new ETFs, but it was kind of a flat negative day yesterday. And to show you, this is 466,000 Bitcoin are now in the 9 new ETFs. 466. And our friends at Grayscale lost 240,000 of them. That's a lot of Bitcoin. That's like, that's more than Saylor has. And to show you how many went back into the system, 2,282 were pushed back into the system. If you count up the number of days where we actually had a negative day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 46. So call it 1/5. 20% of the time you have a negative day. But the negative days are tiny. They're nothing burgers. They're anomalies. The overarching trend is for the ETFs to suck this Bitcoin in as quickly as possible. And guess what? Yes, Grayscale had a huge dump. But guess who bought a huge bag? And that is Mr. Saylor back again. He snagged up 9,245 Bitcoin at $67,382. Their total bag now is 214,246 Bitcoin. And their average price is 35K. So once we get back to 70K, they'll have doubled their money. Hard to believe. They borrow fiat at under 1% out to 2031. They borrow $625 million of it. It's a debasing asset at 0 interest rate for 6 or 7 years. And they put it into a hard asset. It's the most beautiful ARB ever. And he does it time and time and time again. And it's just fun to watch. Now, let's look at a couple of very quick charts. And I'll let you go. First of all, I shared this exact chart last week. I talked about the 10K crash on the 4th of March. And then I talked about the 10% crash on the 15th of March. Well, it's actually now a 10K crash and a 10K crash. We had two for 2. 2 10K crashes within 10 days. All right. So that's the new normal. $10,000 seems to be the retracement level. So when you see that, you know probably the bottom is in. It's literally, it's not a coincidence. I don't believe there's any such thing as a coincidence. I believe it's planned to be this way. So the ETFs and the Saylors and all the others that are buying behind the scenes that you don't know about. But on the 15th of May, about 2 months from now, we'll uncover who is actually buying a truckload of Bitcoin. It'll surprise you. And a shout out to OCC as well. This is a cool little chart that shows you the short-term holder cost basis. Bitcoin can drop to 54,000 and bounce back up. And that would be more bullish for OCC than anything else. The short-term holder cost basis has typically held support during bull runs. And we came nowhere near it. But if the short-term holder cost basis does break and the price fails to get above it, that's a different story. That's a very, very bearish signal. But we're nowhere near that, so don't worry. So shout out to OCC. Super interesting chart. Remember, these 10K retracements are the new normal. We're not getting the 20%ers anymore or the 30%ers because that constant bid is coming in. Boom, 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 boom. And that constant bid is about to go into high gear. That's what you'll hear here. And it's just mathematics. That's all we do here. Thank you all for coming. I'll be back in a couple of hours with 𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗞𝗜. Go punch that out right now. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you to 7,500 people watching live. Hit that like so other people can get it. Question from AJ. Is Mr. Qatar Mr. 100? No. I forgot to check Mr. 100's balance today. I'm going to do that right now. Hold on there. Hold on. I have his wallet. Haha. Let me check. OC, where are you, Mr. 100? Live. Last time Mr. 100 bought was 2 days ago. 103 Bitcoin. That was the 17th of March. He bought on the 16th of March 104 Bitcoin. And he bought on the 16th of March tiny fraction of Bitcoin, and the 15th 100. So he's back to 100 Bitcoin a day. Now has 2 billion of profit, $3.6 billion bag, and 53,205 Bitcoin. Well done. So Mr. 100 is buying. I don't know if Qatar would use Upbit, a Korean exchange, to buy. A lot of people think it could be a Korean pension fund or a Korean billionaire buying. But we'll soon find out. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for shouting out Mr. 100. I don't think Qatar is Mr. 100, but they could be. And they could be a lot of them too. But it's a fascinating DCA method. Thank you all for coming. I'll see you all in a couple of hours. Bye-bye.